We're on the Sanhedrin Perek Hey, Mishnah Gimel, third Mishnah, the fifth chapter of Masechet Sanhedrin. We're going to talk about, we said when the witnesses, in the last Mishnah, we said the witnesses contradict one another. Bizman shemachishim zeh, when they contradict each other, that edutan b'tela, that cancels their edut, that cancels their testimony. So now we're going to see that that's not true in every single case. It depends what kind of contradiction and to what degree they contradict. So then they asked him, remember we said they asked him, what day? What was the date when it happened? So one guy says it was the 2nd of Nisan. Another guy says no, it was the 3rd of Nisan. Edutan kayemet. Then their edut is considered good. It's considered extant. We establish an edut. Why? Shezeh yodea be'ibur rosh hakodesh. V'zeh eino yodea be'ibur rosh hakodesh. Remember, they back in the time of the Mishnah, the calendar was fluid. Some months were chodeshim me'ubarim, pregnant months, and some were not. So the one who said that it was the 2nd knew about Ibur Chodesh, knew that the last month was a pregnant month, and therefore, so let's say the last month was 30 days, and therefore the 2 days later after Rosh Chodesh, that's when it happened. And the other guy didn't know Ibur Rosh Chodesh, he didn't know the month Ibur was pregnant, and therefore he thought that is now the 3rd day because the last month was 29 days. But the Bartanura points out that only works Dabka ad Chatzi Chodesh. That rule only works up until halfway through the month. But after halfway through the month, their edut is betela. They're considered contradictory testimony. We have an established rule that the half of the month can't pass until everybody knows what date it is. Everybody, by the 15th of the month, by the time of by the full moon, everybody knows what the date is and when the month was established. But if one says it was on the 3rd of the month, and one guy says it was the 5th of the month, there's no way to mistake 2 days, and therefore we assume that it's contradictory evidence, and they're not talking about the same thing. Say, well, what time was it? One guy says 2 hours into the day. Another guy says 3 hours into the day. They can make that mistake. But one says 3 hours, and one says 5 hours, edutan v'teila. That's too much of a difference of hours. Now remember, we're not talking about hours like clocks, like we have watches. Rather, we're talking about hours, time-bound hours, of the days divided into 12 units. So therefore, they're kind of guesstimating. And therefore, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kayemer. Rabbi Yehuda says between 3 hours in the day and 5 hours in the day, meaning, is it 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock? Okay, Rabbi Yehuda says that's enough for people to make a mistake. The Avid Inish, the Tai, Kulehai. People can make a mistake, Kulehai, that much. But, Echad Omer b'chamesh, Echad Omer b'sheva, if one says it was 5 hours in the day, and one said it was 7 hours a day, then even Rabbi Yehuda agrees, Edutan b'teila. Rabbi Yehuda even agrees that it's no good. Why? Sheb'chamesh, Chama b'mizrach. Ub'sheva, Chama b'ma'arav. Because at 5 hours of the day, it's still 11 o'clock in the morning, like on a classic day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., at 11 o'clock in the morning, the sun is in the mizrach, still in the morning side. And at 7, the sun is in the west. And so while we have no idea where the sun is during the day, we generally don't follow these things. They were very keenly aware because the sun was their clock. That's how they knew what time it generally was. And therefore, people would know whether it was still morning or whether it was afternoon. All right, we'll stop here and dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha B'Yitzchak Kalman.